Good morning, everybody. First rule of innovation is don't follow the rules about putting words on your slides. So I went for pretty pictures instead, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'm the head of the science organization at Rensselaer. As a result, partly because I think my passion is really unleashing the full potential, the full capacity of the innovation ecosystem in our region and in our country. I absolutely believe that continuing to unleash innovation is critical to the future prosperity of our country and of our region. Every ecosystem needs fuel to thrive, and the innovation ecosystem is no different. As Dean of Science and as a space scientist myself, I want to argue today that that innovation ecosystem fuel, an important component of that is asking really compelling questions that challenge our imaginations, and that those questions are almost impossible to answer. That approach can really drive innovation that filters throughout the innovation ecosystem. So that's my perspective on what we're talking about here today. Again, really compelling questions that are almost impossible to answer. So that's my big message. And in the space world, that question that drives me is, are we alone in the universe? There's a really compelling question. I actually can't imagine a more compelling scientific question that we can ask. And it's one that's extremely difficult to answer. It's one that we are pursuing at Rensselaer, nationally and globally. It's one that touches people's imagination. So I've got some pictures here that kind of represent that question as an exemplar of asking almost impossible questions, asking really compelling questions that are almost impossible to answer. So on the left up there is an image from the Hubble Space Telescope, which in itself was a very innovative invention to try to help us address this question. We needed to be able to see things that we could never see before. And when you look up in the night sky here tonight, if it's clear, except it's not going to be tonight, but next time it is, almost all the stars you see are stars from our own local Milky Way galaxy. We're kind of off topic here, aren't we? We're off into our science lesson for the day. Just go with it, enjoy it. Almost all those stars are in our local Milky Way galaxy. What Hubble did was it said, I'm going to look at a spot in the sky where I can't see any stars in my own Milky Way galaxy. By the way, there's about 200 billion stars in our Milky Way galaxy. Hubble stared at a dark spot in the sky, something where our eyes would not be able to see any stars, stared at it over and over and over again like a long exposure on your camera, and that's what that picture on the left is. Every dot of light in that picture is not a star, but a galaxy. Every one of those dots has hundreds of billions of stars in it, just like our own Milky Way galaxy. How big a piece of the sky is that? It's a piece of the sky is about as big as the eye of a needle. And in that little piece of the sky are thousands of galaxies, each with hundreds of billions of stars in them. Each, most, are a lot like our sun. And we now know that probably a lot of them have planets going around them. So this is a question that was almost impossible even to conceive of 20 years ago, which Hubble was invented to help us answer and understand our context more. We can look more locally. That cute little rover in the middle there is my friend Curiosity, currently roving the surface of Mars, looking to see and find, and actually has already discovered, environments in Mars's past that could have been habitable. Were they inhabited? We don't know yet. And the next step is really going to be the picture on the right, which is trying to find another Earth around another star. That picture is not a photograph, but a drawing, an animation. We aren't there yet. It's an almost impossible question to answer. Can we take that image of another Earth-like planet going around another star? These innovations have driven not just the imaginations of billions of children around the world who then think about, wow, maybe I should study science and maybe I should study design and go into innovation, and inspired many. But they've also resulted in spin-off technologies and capabilities that fundamentally drive the innovation ecosystem in other ways. The highly sensitive CCDs that were invented for the Hubble Space Telescope are now used to do less invasive breast cancer tissue biopsies for imaging. So they're helping in the healthcare field. The technologies used to build the rover are used now in robotic hospital assistance, and the sensors are used to screen pharmaceuticals more quickly. sensors which were miniaturized as part of developing the rover. So asking almost impossible to answer questions drives innovation both from the imagination perspective and technologically. Thank you.